Welcome to the Privacy Report, where we take a critical look at how technology is shaping your daily life and, I think, your digital autonomy. I want to start with a scene that, well, it's probably happened to you 10 times in the last week.
Yep.
You're at a restaurant, you pull out your phone, scan the QR code on the table for the menu.
Yep.
You do it again later to pay for parking. Maybe you scan one on a flyer to download an app or, check a bus schedule.
They're everywhere. Absolutely everywhere.
And these little black and white squares, they feel like the ultimate shortcut, just seamless. But I'm going to argue that the simplicity it's profoundly deceptive. We're going to
Yep.
break down how these codes are really sophisticated silent data collectors, and more importantly, what you can do about it.
That's the perfect way to frame it. The second your camera locks onto that code, you've started a conversation, a kind of handshake that is often about way more than just getting a menu.
It's a tracking channel.
It's a tracking channel, and because it's happening in the physical world, I think people are way more likely to just drop their digital guard.
So our mission today is to peel back the layers of tracking embedded in these codes, and then, the crucial part, give you some concrete, actionable steps so you can scan smarter.
Because if you understand where the data is leaking, that's really the first step to shutting that down.
Before we jump in, just a quick reminder that you can subscribe to our email newsletter for more insights like this at theprivacyreport.net. Okay, let's get into it. So we've set up this irony. You scan a code thinking you're just grabbing a public link, like reading a sign on a wall. But what you're actually doing is activating this powerful targeted analytics tool. How did this become the default?
Well, the fascinating thing is how the technology has been shaped specifically for marketing. The core issue isn't the QR code format itself. It's what modern businesses are choosing to encode inside it.
Okay.
And it's almost never just a simple, clean link to the website anymore. Instead, they funnel you through a whole process.
Okay.
Yeah, a process that involves invisible tracking parameters, session identifiers, and almost always redirects. These are all designed to identify your device and log your behavior from the moment you scan. And you, the user, you never see this incredibly long, complex string of data that's actually there.
Right, because my phone just shows me the final clean-looking URL in that little pop-up.
Exactly. It masks the whole chain reaction that's happening in the background. And companies do this because, well, it's simple. They want behavioral data. They want to connect the digital world to the physical one.
So they want to know that my phone at this specific table scanned this specific menu.
Precisely. Analytics platforms, whether it's Bitly or Strout Social or specialized QR services, they're all set up to capture that exact moment. They want to tie that physical action, you pointing your phone at the menu on table 4, to what you do next online, what pages you look at, how long you stayed.
That makes sense for marketing, I get it, but it just feels fundamentally different from clicking a link on a website. Online, I kind of expect cookies, I expect trackers. When I scan a physical object, the expectation is privacy.
And that's the psychological disconnect. That's the key. When you scan a QR code, you are effectively becoming an active data logger for the company. If the encoded string looks long and messy, even if your phone summarizes it cleanly, that's a huge clue that cracking parameters are buried in there.
So it's the silent transformation of a static physical thing into a dynamic, measurable digital touchpoint.
You've just activated their whole analytics engine by opening your camera.
Okay, we have to look under the hood here. How do these codes hide all that tracking stuff so effectively? And why is using a link shortener, which so many of them do, why is that the biggest amplifier for this data capture?
Let's break it down into 2 stages. First, what's literally in the code, and second, what happens right after you scan.
Okay.
So first, what's in the code are these things called appended parameters. A company doesn't just encode, say, their website.com/menu. They'll encode something that looks more like their website.com for menu.camp ID, 987 in source bar poster B, all those characters after the question mark. Those are the appended parameters.
So that's the tracking part.
That's the tracking part. They're the keys that let the analytics platform log the exact time, the place, the context of your scan. So now they know for sure that traffic came from that specific poster in that specific bar.
So they're basically A/B testing their physical signs. They can see which ad is performing better based on real-world scans.
Precisely. They are making physical space completely measurable. So that's layer 1.
And what's layer 2?
Layer 2 is arguably more powerful. It's what I'd call the redirect handshake. When a code uses a link shortener or a dedicated analytics platform, like the ones from Beacon Stack, your phone doesn't go straight to the menu.
So if I see a link like bit.ay123xyz, that bit.e is an intermediary.
It's a mandatory toll booth. Before they let you get to your final destination, that toll booth automatically logs your vehicle type, so your device, your license plate, your IP address, which gives location data, and the exact time you pass through.
And this all happens in milliseconds, so I don't even notice it.
It's totally seamless to you. But that brief stop is what feeds those big analytics dashboards. The shortener isn't just for neatness. Its primary function is data acquisition. That's where the device fingerprinting and IP logging happen before you've even seen the content you wanted.
So we're not just consenting to view a website. The moment the camera recognizes the code, we're consenting to a background data transaction.
Yeah.
It completely shifts the privacy calculation.
It really does.
Let's get more granular. We've talked about the mechanics. When I scan a typical marketing QR code, what are, say, the top 5 key pieces of information or identifiers that are being collected in that instant?
Okay, yeah, let's break it down. The data generally falls into 5 critical buckets. Number 1, UTM parameters. We just touched on these. They're campaign tags, like item source. These are put right in the link to identify which specific physical code you scanned. If a restaurant has 50 tables, and each table has a unique code, they know exactly which table you were sitting at.
So it turns a casual glance at a menu into a highly attributable event.
Exactly. Number 2 would be session IDs. Think of these like a temporary wristband at a conference. It doesn't have your name on it, but it lets the system track everywhere that wristband goes during that one visit.
Okay.
The session ID links all your actions together for that single session.
And when I leave the site, the ID expires, but they still have the log of my behavior from that session tied to that initial scan.
Precisely. Number 3 is device fingerprinting data. Now, this is important. This data is not in the QR code itself. It's collected when the redirect server talks to your browser during that handshake.
Yeah.
It grabs identifier like your operating system, your browser version, screen resolution.
Things that, when you combine them, create a pretty unique profile of my specific phone, even without a cookie.
Correct. It's stealthier than a cookie. Number 4, unique customer identifiers. You see these a lot on receipts or invoices. The QR code isn't for a generic survey. It often has a unique ID tied specifically to your account or that specific purchase.
Got that.
And finally, number 5, location tags. The QR code itself is just text, of course. But the second it triggers a web request, your IP address is logged. And that gives a pretty good idea of your general location. And then, if the link takes you to a web app, that app might ask for precise GPS access.
Let's go back to the restaurant menu, because that really ties it all together. I sit down, I assume the printed code on the table is private, but if it uses UTM parameters and a redirect, the company managing their digital menu now knows the exact time I scanned, which menu I scanned, where I was sitting.
And your general location from your IP?
Before I've even decided what I want to eat, that completely shatters the idea that a printed piece of paper is a private medium.
It absolutely does, and this is the distinction we need to make. A clean link is just example.com menu. A marketing link adds accountability. Example.com menu.utm source, table 17.
Right.
But the redirect link, the bit, that ly4 byways 123, that's the triple threat, it adds accountability and collects all the device metadata before passing you along. That redirect is the data-rich entry point.
Wow. Okay, that is heavy. The instinct might be to just stop scanning QR codes, but that's not really practical anymore. They're just too useful. So what are the practical habits we can adopt right now to cut down on this data leakage?
We can definitely shift the power balance here, and it only takes a couple of seconds of vigilance.
Yeah.
Goal is to go from being a passive scanner to an active scrutinizer.
Okay, I like that. Active scrutinizer.
The single most effective thing you can do is preview the URL. And I can't stress this enough. Nearly every modern phone, both iOS and Android, gives you a little pop-up that shows the link before you tap to open it.
Don't just immediately tap open
Don't tap it. Pause. Look at that preview.
Okay, so I've paused. I'm looking at the link, what I'm looking for. Because even clean links can look long sometimes.
You're looking for 2 major red flags. First, look for link shorteners. If you see domains like bit.ly, l.ed, d.me, tada, anything like that, that's your immediate signal that a third-party tracking system is in the middle.
So I know for a fact that data is being logged before I get to where I'm going.
You know it. Second, spot the query strings. Look for a question mark, followed by a long, messy string of characters. If the link goes to a real domain but then has .um source or session ID tacked on the end, that's a dead giveaway for analytics parameters.
So extreme shortness is a red flag, and excessive messiness is a red flag. The short one is a tracker middleman, and the messy one has identifiers embedded in it.
Exactly. Now, what if you have to scan one that looks suspicious? You do have other tools. You can use privacy tools. There are specific privacy-focused QR scanner apps out there that can filter known trackers or block unsafe redirects.
What about if I see a redirect link, like a bit.ly link, and I don't want to ping their tracking server, but I still need to know where it goes?
That's a great question. You can use an external tool like a URL unshortener service. You just do it on another device or in a secure browser tab. You type in that short link, and the service will tell you the final destination URL without your main device ever having to load that tracking server first.
That's a real power move. You get to see the final destination without triggering their log.
Yeah, it lets you check the legitimacy safely. And, a final thought on this is just simple vigilance. If the URL is printed right there next to the QR code, it is almost always safer to just type that domain in manually.
Good point.
And we do have to mention the security risk. It's not common on updated phones, but scanning a malicious QR code can lead you to a site designed to exploit a browser flaw. So being vigilant serves your privacy and your security.
This has been a really necessary deconstruction of this quiet architecture of data collection. I think the primary lesson here is that QR codes are not simple pointers anymore. They have been engineered to be these sophisticated data funnels that bridge the physical and digital worlds.
You really have.
And awareness and just taking that simple precaution of prevising the URL, those are fundamental steps toward getting back some of your digital autonomy.
The thought I'd want to leave everyone with is one that challenges our perception of space. Just think about how quickly the physical objects around you, a poster, a flyer, a restaurant table, are now connected to these huge real-time analytics dashboards. What does it mean when the simple act of aiming your camera at a piece of paper becomes an action that logs your location, your device, and your intent for a company to analyze? That fusion of physical and digital tracking, it really changes the definition of public space.
That is an essential and, frankly, provocative thought to end on. Thank you for tuning in to the Privacy Report. If this conversation helped you understand your world a little better, please make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss our next conversation on critical privacy issues.
Thank you for joining us.
This episode was made with the assistance of AI.